Let's fire away.
Go ahead.
We talked to some of the players about it being their first moments in the college football playoff, but for you, this is another opportunity with your previous experience at TCU. Maybe what some of the lessons are you taking from that experience to this one to help some of the players without that playoff experience?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, with anything, I mean, when you have experience with something, that you're always going to kind of draw from that, and trying to expose our players as much as possible with the things that I have learned, and I think ultimately what we've challenged our guys with, what Coach Sweeney's challenged our team with, as he's been in a lot of these as well, is at the end of the day, it's always going to come back to the fundamental things that we're about. It really is, and as boring as that sounds. So we're really trying to hammer that home with our guys. Obviously, they're going to be excited. It's going to be a great environment. But at the end of the day, it's going to be about how we play and our mentality and all the things that's led us up to this point. We just got to do it at a high rate and have high execution with. So just trying to instill that into our guys as much as possible going into this week.
I guess how much more prepared do you feel like Cade is for a game like this going back home to Austin than he would have been last year?
Yeah, I mean, he's just everybody, right? I mean, everybody just feel like we're in a much better spot. He's got a ton of experience as opposed to what he had a year ago. And he's been through a lot. Our team's been through a lot. So, yeah, I mean, he's going to be able to draw on his own experiences thus far in the games that he's been in and has had to play through and had success, had failure. And so I think he's just going to be able to rely on his preparation and the experience he has up to this point.
Looking back at these last two games, David talked yesterday about the offense has had some chances to put games away or put together drives. South Carolina, SMU. As you kind of look back on the film on those two, what have kind of held you back? Do you think in those two games in the second half?
Well, I mean, we had some chances really in both games to probably put them away, honestly, in the first half. And just didn't make a play here or there, and then just the way the games have gone, we probably didn't stay on the gas as much as I'd like to, and that's always hindsight's 20/20. When you come off the game, but that's trying to draw off of the last 2 weeks for sure on how we can hopefully close a little bit better and keep the momentum going a little bit longer with what we've had offensively the last couple of games.
As a coordinator, what's maybe the feel you mentioned about putting your foot on the gas, maybe not trying to put your foot on the gas? What's maybe your feel as an offensive coordinator to know when to turn up the juice versus trying to be more conservative?
I think it's always kind of back to the feel of the game and kind of where your players are at. Like, I think it always kind of comes back to that. If what you're doing well, who's hot at that point, what they're going to be doing in those situations. I mean, it always changes too. Later you get in the game, it probably, if the other team's down, that could change some things and some different variables for you offensively. So it's just a lot of that. But I think short answer is probably just more feel than anything.
Going back to the SMU game, Jay Haynes' injury, how did that kind of impact you guys in the second half of your ability to run the ball?
Yeah, I mean, it just affected us just from a rep standpoint of just kind of how we repped a lot of those running backs last week, losing him and some of the package stuff that we had for him in that game. It certainly kind of altered some of the things that we could do late in that second half. But definitely excited about our guys and their opportunity this week, with Keith and Easy behind them, and we're going to need them.
Garrett, what's impressed you the most about Cade's development this year? I remember you telling us in the preseason you thought his running ability could be an X factor for you guys, and at the time, as a guy who hadn't really run a lot last year, it sounded kind of funny, but that's proven to be the case. Is it willingness to take off and run and the designed runs? Like, where do you see the most improvement in his game over the course of this year?
I mean, the running ability for sure, and I would lean more towards just scrambling and creating as opposed to maybe just some design stuff. I mean, we've had some design here and there that he's capitalized on, but I think probably in totality it's more of knowing when to run, when to take off, and just being a force and an extra element. I think that's given us a ton this year in some critical situations and critical downs that I can think of off the top of my head right now. So, I mean, that's number one. That would be one of the top things. The other, I think, is just becoming more routine in the execution part, like just things that we know that are there he knows it's there. It's just making that routine play. Like he's just doing that at a much higher rate than he obviously did a year ago.
You guys have been saying for a while now you haven't played your best football. You haven't played a four-quarter game really on both sides of the ball, all three factors of the ball. Is that exciting to know that like that threshold's still ahead of you? And then how do you balance trying to find that and fine-tuning how to click into that mode, especially now in the playoffs when it's all or nothing every game?
Yeah, I mean, no, to me it's exciting. Like high school, you always hear it. You know, you want to be playing your best ball around playoff time when you're in high school, and now that's really the case for us. And where this thing is headed is you want to be playing your best ball towards the end of the season. And so we feel like that's still ahead of us. We still feel like that's untapped. You know, and then again, how do you approach that going into this week and go play your best football? I just think you emphasize it, but at the same time, it's don't make it bigger than it is, right? Like there's got to be a fine line of our guys playing loose and having confidence and all those things that I think they have right now. You know, but I do feel like we as a team feel like it's some untapped potential for us to go do exactly that. And obviously, this would be a hell of a time to go do it.
Feels like more and more throughout the season you're putting a lot of trust in your freshman receivers, especially to win on the boundary. Is that something that maybe the defense has been giving you, or is that just a trust that's grown over time?
I just think it's development, more towards the development of those wideouts, and then just some of the trust level with them and Cade and us putting them hopefully in some good situations. So I just think it's more of a developmental part of it as opposed to maybe what defenses are giving us. I just think we're attacking that just a little bit more naturally and gaining some confidence with some of those throws.
Let's go back to running backs. Kind of what is the balance between kind of Phil and his health and what he's able to do as opposed to some of the younger guys and what their strengths are, trying to balance between why he's the best option while the other guys are fully healthy but maybe don't have quite some of the aspects of pass protection maybe.
Right. Yeah, I think it's always it's definitely a balance of a balancing act of, all right, when you're in game, seeing how Phil's doing and how he's playing and performing, and then us being willing to adjust if we need to. And that's kind of always the deal as a coach of you know, what we're going to have to do in this game for sure.
You guys, I guess, Texas, it holds over 100,000 people home playoff game. I guess will you guys kind of employ a silent count to try to provide out the noise of how we guys kind of handle the atmosphere of Texas?
Yeah, I mean, really any road game, and we know it's going to be loud, and there will be certain times where it's extremely loud, but you're always going to prepare for crowd noise and what you got to do just from an operational standpoint. But yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to have to prepare for that.
Garrett, Texas #1 in the nation in pass defense, have only allowed 4 passing touchdowns all year. I think maybe the flip side of that is you can say they haven't played a ton of top-tier passing offenses, but what are the challenges that Texas presents defensively and in the secondary?
I mean, they're a great defense. I mean, I think they're well coached. You know, I really don't see a weakness on their side of the ball. I mean, they're big up front. I think their linebackers are really productive players. And then obviously their secondary is strong, got some veteran guys that play a lot of football, and I just think they're really, really good at what they do. So it's a great challenge for us, one that I know we're excited about. But yeah, I think you know, obviously they're playing at a high level and have played at a high level for most of the season on defense. So it'll be a great challenge for us. I got a lot of respect for how they play, and you can just tell how they're coached. I got a ton of respect, you know, watching and trying to game plan against them.
Have you ever seen numbers like that, like 4 passing touchdowns allowed over the course of an entire season?
Well, the one that kind of is off the top of my head, that I can't remember the exact stat, but I think I was at SMU and we played Cincinnati. It was the year Cincinnati went to the college football playoff, and they had the Thorpe Award winner at one corner, and oh, by the way, Sauce Gardner was the other corner. And one of their safeties was a high drive pick. Like that's kind of what I see over there. Like it's a really, really strong group. So it'll be a fun opportunity.
What was it like to get Tyler Brown back for the title game? I know he didn't play a ton, but just get him back acclimated.
Yeah, I mean, just getting better and better. But it's great to have him back and practicing and moving around and looking full speed and just all those things. I mean, it's great to have him back because we're going to need him, you know. And obviously, the more you have depth and can move guys around and and things like that. It makes you feel better. But it's been great to see him, and he's got a good energy about him too. So there's apart from just the skill set side of it, like there's a good presence that he has about him that he brings just to our sideline, our team when he's in there. So it's great to see Tyler back.
As a Texas guy yourself, just what's this trip back going to be like for you?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, just playing in a college football game, playoff game, it's awesome, and to do it in your home state and to do it at DKR, it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be hostile. It's going to be a great environment. It's going to be awesome, but we've got to approach it really like every other game. So I'm sure we'll have some family and some Texas ties and all that'll be there, in the crowd. But yeah, just looking forward to the moment.
Did Dabo say you had a new addition to your family?
I do. I've had a few things going on here this time of the year. Yep, had a couple things going on. Last few days been a blur.
How is that going? How is everybody doing? And I know all the wives are going on the trip. Is your wife going on this trip? Are we taking the
No, everybody's doing great. Mom and the little one are doing well back home. So I came, I don't even know what day it was. So I guess this was Wednesday. So this was Wednesday, and we left. We got discharged from the hospital. Mama and the baby went home. I came straight here, and I came right to practice. I literally just walked out onto the practice field, and here we go. So I felt like I was in the twilight zone a little bit for a couple days, but everybody's doing awesome. I think my wife is going to stay here. It's probably too much this early, but my two little boys are going to go, so they're going with grandparents, and they're going to head to Austin and be there for it. They didn't go to the ACC championship game, my two boys, so they were pretty let down by that, so they have to go to this one. They weren't letting us not take them.
You get any sleep?
Yeah, I'm getting plenty. Yeah, I'm doing well. She's doing all the hard work right now, as you can imagine. So no, I'm doing great now.
Any questions for Coach virtually? Kirk Bowles, go ahead.
Hey, Garrett, how you doing? Congratulations. Have you changed the diaper yet?
I have changed a couple. It's weird. I haven't done it in a few years, but it's like, I guess it's like riding a bike. You don't really forget how. So I have changed a few.
Well, hey, congratulations on that in the season. You mentioned the Texas defense. As far as what they scheme, especially against dual threat guys like Cade is, do you expect Colin Simmons or Anthony Hill to be spying on Cade most of the game?
I mean, I would anticipate that they'll have some spy stuff in their package, just with what Cade has done. But listen, I also think they're just going to do what they do. They've had a lot of success all year long. Got really good players. Got a great scheme. I think they're, like I said, I just think they're very, very sound in what they do. So, whatever they're going to do, it's going to be a great challenge for us. But I would anticipate that will certainly be in their arsenal if they choose to do that.
And speaking of that SMU Cincinnati game, how SMU do against that defensive secondary?
Yeah, I didn't want to bring that up.
Pretty good test, though, right?
It was, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, and anything as far as Jahdae Barron, the Thorpe Award winner at cornerback, any thoughts on how he's playing and how you deal with him?
Yeah, really, really, really good player. I think he's just a very instinctive guy. Obviously, he's skilled and has a great skill set to go along with it, but I just think the guy's played a ton of football. I think he's savvy. I think he's instinctive. I think he has a good feel for the game. So I've had a ton of fun watching him on film. He's a fun guy to watch and try and game plan for.
Thank you, Garrett. Good luck.
You bet. Thanks.
Any other questions in the room?
With Eziomume specifically, how do you feel like he's progressed? I don't know, he's been able to play a little bit more down the stretch, and that kind of position him to contribute more.
Yeah. I mean, I do. I think those guys are going to have to get some snaps for us and give us something, give us some juice. But I really do. I got confidence in Easy. I mean, he's a different type of runner than what we've had last few weeks, and so looking forward for him to get in the mix.
Anyone else for Coach Riley?
He was telling us about, I think it was after the Stanford game that he had a cowboy hat. He was hoping you would have one too. And I think you said he wasn't budgeted in Texas. He did not have a hat with you.
No, it is in Texas. That is true. It is at our family ranch. I know exactly where it's at. It's there. So may have to send somebody to go get it on this trip. I think he was telling me that maybe he'll have to do it. We'll make it to the Cotton Bowl or whatever. Maybe I'll have to bring it out. He may make me.
Anybody else? All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys.